welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. And I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. Dr. Lopkin, I know we've gotten some good feedback about maybe not centering on the impeachment hearing, or the process. But according to Nancy Pelosi, it's not an impeachment yet. But I think at this point, there's really no choice not to address it. It's kind of rolling along.
We have to talk about what's going on, especially now that the hearings have gone out into the open.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, today's hearing was very interesting because it was promoted as being a big impact. This was
This was Babe Ruth. This was good. I did hear that. It was going to be Babe Ruth.
Yes, this was going to be the testimony that puts Trump away.
Mm-hmm.
And in his opening statement, he comes out and he says, yes, he knows for a fact that there was a quid pro quo.
Yeah, I heard that. Yep.
And then he changed his story because during the course of the testimony, it comes out, oh, yes, he knows there was a quid pro quo, but not for military aid. No. From what he knows, Trump was holding the option of a White House meeting over them. If they didn't do the investigation, he wasn't going to have them meet at the White House.
Okay.
This is such a minor thing.
Okay, this whole thing is actually scary and ridiculous, all wrapped up in the same blanket. It's scary for a number of reasons. It's obviously, we talked about, when Trump was first running, drain the swamp, and it was all a nice little, tagline, whatever. But in actuality, it's true. This is a swamp pushing back because of 70 years of misguided, idiotic policies and lining their pockets at our expense. And they're PO'd about it, correct?
Yes. And actually, Adam Schiff made some interesting comments over the last few days, which really go to show that this is more about congressional power, and they're throwing a temper tantrum because Trump doesn't do what they want more than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's that, but I also think it's a number of reasons, things. And, I think it dovetails into our next topic of conversation. But it also dovetails. They've never got over Hillary not winning. She was the, foregone conclusion. And, part of the, Washington elite. This new guy comes in, he overturns the economy smoking. He questions things like NATO. Should we even be in this stupid thing? 70 some odd years after World War II. So he's questioning
that's actually the big thing, is that he's questioning everything that we have been doing.
Which was ridiculous, yes.
The people who are behind this inquisition, never mind impeachment, these are the folks that have been in Congress for 30 and 40 years and have been doing these things all along. And now they're being told, you know what, everything you've been doing has been useless. And they can't stand for that.
Truth. And they've been told the truth because they're, the bureaucracy, the hundreds of thousands of people, bureaucrats lining their pockets at our expense, number one, and doing going to the same school. There's all inbred strategies. I know your father served in Vietnam. That was another, the best of the brightest, the domino theory, no real strategy of winning, a war of attrition. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Everything they've ever done essentially has been nonsensical.
That's their motivation. And you're getting back to today's testimony, though. This big blockbuster of a witness was basically able to say, oh, yes, all of these things came from Rudy Giuliani.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can you say that? Did you talk to the president about that? No, he didn't have any idea about Trump. So if they wanted to impeach Rudy Giuliani, they might be making progress.
Yeah, it's important to. I'd like to get your read. I'll let you go first. Overall impact, negative impact on Trump, 10 being devastating, obviously zero being zero. What do you think so far?
So far, honestly, I think, well, I mean, depends on what you mean by impact, positive or negative.
No,
Negative,
negative first,
negative
then
impact,
positive.
I would say it's about a two.
Okay,
It,
reason for that?
well, it's not, they have not proven anything. So they haven't got the grounds to push this through the Senate. So he's not going to be removed from office. And I mean, on the positive side, this has been done more to mobilize Trump's base than anything Trump could have done.
There's no question about it. I don't believe the polls at all. I think that it's actually, I'm sorry to say, mobilized me. I'm not, in Trump's camp, but I'm thinking this is ridiculous. It's an opportunity for basically the Democrats overturning an election. Let's be fair, because they didn't win. I think it's dangerous, scary, and it's also dangerous that the media is a part of it.
Oh, it's
That's
very
really scary.
dangerous. The media has actually been driving the storyline behind this because Hillary was their girl, and they can't stand that they got it so wrong and that their candidate was blown out of the water. And what's really funny is that as this goes on, the people that are going to suffer the most politically are actually Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren.
Okay, let's talk about that. Why?
Well, here's the thing. They've been talking about getting these hearings over with, and Adam Schiff said these will probably go into January.
Jesus.
Well, if it goes into January, assuming they can get the impeachment done and get it into the Senate, once the Senate starts hearings, all senators need to be there, which
Okay.
means as long as the impeachment goes on, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren cannot be on the campaign trail.
Okay.
They're going to have to cancel events. They're going to have to not show up to people. And meanwhile, the newest polls are not going well for them. If you
Yeah,
take,
that's true.
I mean, if you take a look at now, they're starting to do the local polls. And in Iowa, I mean, Warren is still coming in second, but Buttigieg has taken the lead.
That's true.
And in South Carolina, Joe Biden is ahead of everybody by 40 points.
40 points.
40 points, yes. The Democrats have basically started coming out and going, you know what? If we elect one of these socialist wackos, we are definitely going to lose the general. So
Yes.
they're abandoning the left to try to find a more centrist candidate to go against Trump.
Yeah. And who do you think that's going to be?
Honestly, at this point, I think Buttigieg's got the best shot. The party might push Biden through, but I don't think Biden can handle the stress.
No, no, definitely not. I think Warren's finished. I think Buttigieg is probably might be the odds-on favorite. What do you think?
He seems to be the up and comer, and he's still too far to the left. He needs to swing a little more centrist because he's still sticking with things like wealth taxes that Bernie and Warren have popularized. But for the most part, he is much more centrist than those two. He's got a much better shot at bringing the party back to center.
No, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I think that's good thinking. So, how do you think this all plays out? First of all, you think Buttigieg is going to move up in terms of his place in the whole thing? And the second question is, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he is moving up. I think the more centrist candidates as a whole are going to start moving up, especially once you see the poll results from states that have early primaries. The big problem with these national polls is you get opinions from places like Connecticut, Rhode Island, which tend to swing left, but also
Swing
have
left,
their
yeah.
primaries so late that the candidate is already picked by the time they vote.
I would agree. And again, how do you think the impeachment? I think it's going to be it could. Here's what I think. It could actually flop beyond recognition for the Democrats. It's not just wishful thinking. I think if something doesn't catch fire, the ratings are down, interest is going down. I don't see it.
No, the big problem that the Democrats have is they keep promising to lower the boom. They keep saying, this is the one that's got all the information. This is the one that can prove bribery. This is the one that can prove that he's guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors and we can impeach him. And they always seem to fall short of that.
I would agree.
And if they keep doing that, they're going to lose more and more credibility.
I would agree. Well, till next time, that concludes this edition of Carnivore Bites, Dr. Lopkin.
See you next week.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch us every week on carnivoreradio.com, exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.